Hello and welcome to the FTHcast. I am your host, FTH, or Free the Hawk, or Paul, whichever one you want to call me. I'm here again with, we'll go by age before beauty. We'll do Mr. Nitro Strong Jar and Kyle. Say hello, Kyle.
Hello.
And also, that was really fast. What's his name? Graviton Cleric Nathan, I think.
You're a douche.
Oh yeah. Say you're a douche, Nathan.
I just did.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. We're here to talk about video games again, and we've got a lot to talk about. Actually, we got one thing to talk a lot about, pretty much, but that's all right. First off, though, what do you guys been playing this? I don't know, this last week. Let's start there. How about that?
Oh me.
Hope you're ready.
I'll go. Go ahead, Kyle.
No, both at the same time.
I've just been playing Battlefield 3, really. That's all I've been doing.
Battlefield. So nothing new, nothing excites you?
I mean, Borderlands 2 DLC came out. I thought about buying it, but no one really plays it anymore. And
I gotta be honest. Borderlands doesn't do much for me.
No, me neither.
Oh my gosh.
It did the first game. I loved it. The second game was like, it's 400 hours of the same content. Thanks.
Every sequel is the same thing.
No, it's not. Go to Half-Life 1 to Half-Life 2. Big difference.
Go to Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2.
Exactly.
No. Let me make an addendum to that. Go to Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
They literally use the same. No, but like, I mean, granted they pushed it out pretty fast, but if you take the Elder Scrolls series, those games change every time you play it. And there's a lot of games that do that.
But it's still the core gameplay, I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, but they add...
Yeah, it's new world, new weapons, new characters, all that bull crap.
And new like stuff. Like the mechanics are a little bit different. It's basically the same game, but the mechanics
New
are
sweet theme music.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. So you've been playing Battlefield 3, a game that's like 4 years old now. What about you, Kyle?
I've actually been playing. I was playing Dust 514 on my PS3. It's a free-to-play shooter that's incorporated with the EVE Online PC game.
Yeah, how is that?
It was cool. I mean, I only spent about, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes in it. It looks like it's pretty deep, and everybody that's on it is already, I mean,
yeah,
they're on it because they love EVE, and I was just like, I'll see what this is like, but it was okay. I mean, you could kind of tell it was free to play, but it was still, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was just something different. But I also started a new game in Batman Arkham City.
Oh yeah, I love that game.
They released that extended trailer for Arkham Origins, and I was getting a little swole up over it. And,
the only thing that worries me about that is that Rocksteady's not doing the Arkham Origins.
I know. I kind of they released a statement saying like, "Oh, we're really excited that I think it's Warner Brothers Montreal, could be wrong, but I think that's who's making it." But anyway, like Rocksteady said, like, "Oh, we're really excited about the passing the torch onto them, or good things to come." I kind of equate that to obviously, you guys know, I'm big into music, play drums, stuff like that. So anytime any band that I really like says that about one of their albums, like, "Oh, really proud of it," I mean, it blows. It's like the worst album I've ever heard. So I kind of hope that maybe that was something just like Warner Brothers was like, we need, told Rocksteady, like, "Hey, we need you to say something about this." That way people still kind of think you're, tied to it and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, I think if they just kind of build a little bit on what Arkham City was like, it'll be pretty solid. But it is kind of worrisome that Arkham City was like, Arkham Asylum was awesome, and then Arkham City like took it to another level, and it's like, okay, you're wondering what 3 is going to be like, and then it goes to a different company, so you're just you're kind of like, oh, okay.
That's not always a bad thing. It allows the franchise to get freshened up a little bit.
That is true.
I mean, if they're using the same engine, then it's probably going to be pretty similar, and I bet they're using the same engine. That'd be stupid, because it's a really nice engine.
Paul, what about you? What do you play?
Well, you might know I've gotten a GameCube not too long ago, and so I've been playing. Actually, the most I've been playing on my GameCube is Animal Crossing.
Oh my god.
Because I have like fond memories of like cheating the crap out of that game because you can change the clock in your GameCube and it uses that to tell what day it is or what time it is and like change the world or whatever around it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to play it legit and I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I'm going to collect everything, but it's going to take like 4 years to do that, so I'm not going to do it. So I've been playing a lot of that. I've actually been playing my Wii U a bit. I've been playing Monster Hunter 3, the Ultimate Edition that's on the Wii U.
What about Metro Last Light? Did you get that?
Oh, I did get that. I played it for about an hour. I had no idea what was going on in the story because there was basically no backstory to it at all because I didn't play the last game.
Yeah.
It's really pretty, and but the shooting was, I mean, it was just a shooter, and I died once, and I was like, I'm not going to play for a while. I'll get back into it, but I haven't played it in quite a while.
Did either of you all play the first one, 2033?
I haven't.
Nathan,
I played barely any of it, but I mean, I thought it looked cool, and I was thinking about getting the Metro Last Light, but I just...
I wish I had played 33 because I really have no idea what's going on. There's these big alien things, and apparently you kill them all in the last game, but there's one left, and you're chasing them down, and then I died, and I don't know what goes on.
Well, I think I haven't beaten it yet. I remember, like, I saw some. This was several months ago, and heard that Last Light was coming out, got researching into it, and get on certain forums and stuff like that. And everybody's talking about how awesome 2033 was. And so I went on the search for it and found it, got it for like $15. And I think what it was, I think there was, I could be wrong. I think there was 2 endings. And then I think Last Light picks up after one of them. They claimed that you didn't really have to know or play the first one. But you said, I'm sure there's
they did a little bit of explaining.
Like that yeah.
But it's not enough to really know. I mean, it's enough to know and play the game and have fun, but to really like get into the story and the lore, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know because there's these Russian people, and then there's like these Nazi people, but I don't know if they're normal Nazis. I don't even know what year it is. I guess it's 2034. I don't know.
Well, the first one even looks awesome, even by obviously that even came out several years ago. But
yeah,
it was really weird. It's very broken up. Like, you don't ever feel like you're getting into I don't know, like involved in it, because it's just like really short chapters almost. Like you just play through a little segment and then there's like a really long load time, and Artyom, I believe is his name, like the narrator, he says some stuff, and then you just play another little segment.
Yeah,
I don't know, it broke it up, so it felt really like segmented to me. It was hard for me to kind of get going into it, but I mean, it was cool. It looked awesome, very atmospheric, but I have yet to play Last Light. But
yeah, that's kind of the way this one is. I just need to play a little bit more. Like I said, I haven't gotten too far into it. I really want to go into it more. It's kind of the same way with oh gosh, what's that game? Tomb Raider. I got into Tomb Raider a little bit, but
the newest one.
Yeah, but I just haven't gotten that far into it yet.
Yeah. I beat it. I love that game. I thought it was really good.
I don't know. I just can't seem to get myself to play it. I find it weird that like the story keeps pushing you forward when there's this thing about exploration. That's what drove me crazy with Mass Effect 3 too. Like, because the other it's all about. The story pushes you forward, like you've got to keep going, otherwise these guys are going to kill you, and you've got to find your friends.
Right.
But I want to be able to feel free within the storyline to explore around. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it really does. It's just kind of throws me for a loop for some reason. But anyway.
Well,
that's basically what I've been playing. Yeah, I haven't been playing much else, I don't think. I've been playing stuff I've been recording. But other than that, I don't think I've played any computer games in the last week, so yep. But within this last week, at least a couple days ago, we had a pretty big, semi-exciting announcement from Microsoft. I think it's called the X-Bone. Is that what they're calling it?
Yes.
The
Xbox One.
The Xbox One was announced on Tuesday, the 1st? Is it 21st?
I
Yeah,
blocked it
something
out
like
of my
that.
memory, so I couldn't tell you what day it
Yeah,
was.
the 21st at 10 o'clock in the morning when all the gamers are awake because everybody wakes up early, especially if you play video games late at night. 10 o'clock in the morning, and let's go through a couple of the features. You guys are gonna have to help me. They have these like, well, I don't know which features I want to. Okay, let's do this feature first. Let's just talk. Let's go one by one down the features. Talk about what we talk about, and then I'll figure out what I'm talking about.
And keep on talking.
Exactly. So let's just get it out of the way. The TV integration with the internet and the back and forth with that. It's actually really impressive. Which kind of scares me. Let me get this out of the way. I'm completely neutral. I don't know what system I'm gonna buy right now. I'm waiting until E3 because the Xbox One has a bunch of cool features. The PlayStation 4 already has a bunch of cool games. I want to see what the features are for the PlayStation 4, and I want to see what the games are for the Xbox 360 before I make a decision. So, that being said, this whole TV thing, basically how it works is because I watched an interview with Rev3 Games and it had Adam Sessler and this other guy from
I'm a
Microsoft.
big Adam Sessler fan. By the way.
I'm a huge and I'll put a link maybe in the description because this interview, he asks all the hard questions and it's pretty awesome.
That get me hard.
Yeah. But basically there's two operating systems, one for like that talks to the television and one that like plays the games and does all the other stuff. And then they have to talk to each other to be able to do all this dynamic switching and pulling up the internet while you're watching TV and stuff. So all that's really cool, but what I start to think about when I hear all these complicated things, especially just with the switching and the TV and the Skype and all these features, is a red ring of death. That's what comes to mind. It's like this sounds like something that's really cool but really fragile. Like that's
I think it's funny they made the comment. They're like, there won't be any red rings of death on the Xbox One.
Well, yeah, because there's no rings. That doesn't mean it's not going to break.
No red lights being put in.
Anyway, so what do you guys think about this whole? Well, just the integration with the TV and the Skype and this whole dynamic operating system that's supposed to bring everything together.
Kyle, you can go ahead.
I didn't know people had so much trouble watching television, or, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, are we going to talk about just the presentation in general later? Because of what I have to say about it kind of gets into that. But I mean, to me, that is, I mean, to me that has casual gamer written all over it. I do think it is impressive how it just, it's very, on the fly. You can just say, TV, movie, whatever, etc.
Right.
But that's not something that makes me want to get it. I don't know. To me, that's just secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, they could say that it'll cook you breakfast and iron your pants in the morning, and I just been like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I just kind of want to see the improvements from. To me, a new generation means like new, I guess, abilities.
Yeah,
just
like
in as far as gameplay, graphically. I mean, I want to see where gaming is going. Like, that's what I want to see in a console reveal.
Right.
And not necessarily like you can talk to it some more. I don't know. I mean, and again, waiting for E3, I mean, it might catch on to me, but right now that's just kind of, to me, just extra stuff that I could honestly just care less about at this point.
I think that's actually fairly consistent with a lot of the internet buzz with just gamers. They're just so, they feel kind of alienated. They're like, what are you talking about? We don't care about any of this stuff. Like, we want to see the games. And they showed off sports games. Oh, big surprise, EA is going to put a bunch of sports games on there. They showed one game that kind of looked cool, but we don't know anything about it. And then they showed Call of Duty. Like, okay, and just to get this out of the way, Call of Duty looked like crap. Call of Duty
really did look like crap.
Looked like crap. I'm sorry. If that's the next generation Call of Duty, I'm definitely not getting
that was a problem. I mean, sorry about that. Honestly, I mean, I understand where Microsoft is going. I mean, everyone was pissed that they didn't show games, but then again, I think they did it on the purpose because E3 is 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So
But
I'm really not disappointed in that fact. I mean, I like I said, I'll wait and make my determination after E3. But
Yeah.
um, you know, they're going after TV because I mean, to us, yeah, that's garbage. But I mean, you go to someone that's like not into video games, that's probably pretty freaking awesome to them. I guess they're trying to reach a new market, which I guess I can understand that. But
And see, that kind of goes back to the presentation as well, because I agree with you. I actually think all this stuff that they're putting into it, all these ideas and all this new integration and making it more of a dynamic device, is something that we're going to end up seeing all around together. It's the same thing we see with our smartphones. Their phones used to just be phones, and then they had like little screens on them, and they played games, and now they do everything. And that kind of device in your home is definitely something we're going to see more and more of. It's the same thing with tablets. Tablets are becoming more, diverse and stuff. So,
and it's almost like now they're not even really. It's like Microsoft doesn't consider Sony as a competitor. They're more going after like Hulu's market and Amazon Prime and trying to get they're doing their whole original Xbox television thing. Like Steven Spielberg's producing this new Halo series or whatever they're coming up with.
I mean, another thing that I took issue with is you kind of not really mentioned it, Paul, but earlier, you're talking about gamers being up at 10 o'clock in the morning, whenever this reveal was. But who is tuning in to see the Xbox reveal? It was quote unquote gamers.
Yeah.
Like, not the person that was like, what would be really cool if there was some kind of device that could do everything. Oh, maybe this, like
those people probably don't even think about Xbox, and they were probably like at work. They probably have like 9-to-5 jobs. These average Joes are who would love a device like this and are probably going to end up getting it. Probably didn't tune in. The people who tuned in were the people who knew the Xbox was getting revealed. Those are people who already owned Xbox 360s. Those are people who go on to IGN.com. Those, it wasn't done in a way, in my mind, that made sense for Xbox. But okay, so that's a lot of different things talked about.
We just need to just be like, what's your opinion on the whole conference, and just we'll just have to branch off, I guess.
If you want to talk about the whole conference, let's go about it. I was going to move on to
or whatever. I don't care.
Let's try to keep it a little structured. What was your next?
My next thing. Well, I was going to move on to like either the controller or the Kinect itself.
Oh, let's talk about Kinect.
Let's talk about Kinect. I think that's good. Well, you guys start. You guys, what are your all thoughts, and then I'll talk. How about you go first this time, Nathan?
I mean, I guess, like I said, the technology is incredibly impressive. Like you guys were saying earlier, with the way it's recognizing voice and the way you can switch instantly between things and stuff like that. And I mean, it doesn't really appeal to me just because, like, I want to play games. I'm not going to use a Kinect to play games. I mean, I just want to use my controller. And 90% of the time, if I want to navigate through my menus on my Xbox, I just use my remote.
Right.
But I mean, I guess it's cool. I mean, I guess if there's some time I don't feel like using my controller, it'd be nice to just be able to be like, oh, hey, go to this and this. The one thing I find creepy, though, is Microsoft's whole like always on thing, not like always online, but the always on. I mean, so you can just be like Xbox on and it turns on. That means the console is listening to you every second.
I just read an article, just said the whole thing, or just said the same thing you just said. It's always listening.
Yeah.
And that creeps the heck out of me. Like,
but that doesn't mean it's recording, and that doesn't mean it's transmitting.
But I mean, you don't think like, I'm not trying to be ridiculous, but I mean, like, if the government wanted to like listen to you, they could just listen to you through.
They would
your
have
Xbox.
to publicly say, they would have to get Microsoft.
You don't think the government goes behind people's backs to do this kind of stuff?
To hack into Microsoft? I don't think Microsoft would let them. Microsoft's a private
hack.
company. Well, I'm sure they do hack, but if Microsoft sees that, they're gonna stop them. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be as nefarious as people think. I'm not worried about it.
I think. Well, I mean, I see what Nathan's saying. I think that might that's obviously like the extreme way up here, but at the same time, is that also some kind of like uh I mean, it's always listening, like always watching. So you guys know about the like the games have to be it's a mandatory install,
Right.
or and it's kind of linked to your account. Is that also how Connect is? Is it going to recognize you, and if it doesn't see you in the room, not let that?
Oh, I don't think that. The Connect will already recognize you and attune you to your profile. So, like, if my parents were to, or if my brother were to be on my Xbox and he had a profile, it would know the difference between me and him. That's something the Connect 1 already does. But the Connect 2, yeah, it'll definitely recognize you. I don't think it always watches though. I think it just listens. I don't think the eye's on. I think it's just the ears technically. I haven't heard that the eye's on. I just heard that it listens for you to say Xbox. And even then, it doesn't trigger to do anything until you say the word Xbox, So it's really, I think, just listening for the word Xbox. I could be wrong. The eye could be on, but I don't think it is.
A lot of people were worried too with like just like conversation in a room with your Xbox while someone's playing, like how that'll affect you playing. Because I mean, there was one thing they were doing for the first Connect, and they had to back out of it where you could say Xbox goodnight and it would turn off. And people were pissed because they're like, if someone comes in my room and just does it as a joke, it's going to start ticking everyone off.
Yeah, there's definitely like trolls and stuff. But if you think it's creepy now, though, I watched a demo, and they definitely fixed things like in low light, it works a lot better. You don't have to worry about that.
It's like got night vision now.
It's got night vision now. You can be a lot closer and a lot further away. The other thing is it can monitor your heart rate.
Yeah.
Without doing anything, just looking at you, it can monitor your heart rate, which I think is actually really, really cool and can be used, really positively, obviously. I mean, that's the kind of technology that will be probably integrated into hospitals and stuff. I would assume some way that could be turned around. Just the power of that little machine.
Yeah.
But it's definitely kind of weird. But to me, I hear possibilities. To me, I hear, okay, this is a better Connect. They're already saying it recognizes you holding the controller. It recognizes it's almost like they've turned the controller. It sees the controller. Instead of just seeing your hands and your body, it sees the controller too. So there's other things you're doing. We'll get into the controller because controller's supposed to be pretty cool too. But what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, if you're playing a really scary game and the game can see that you're really, really terrified, maybe it can dull it back a little bit for a minute, and then once it sees that you're calmed down, like scare you again. Like that kind of integration would be amazing in some games. Like I think
if they could achieve that, yeah, that'd be really impressive.
And I think they can. I mean, I think at this point it's all up to the developers making great games. And I see, even though I have a Connect. And right now, I moved to where I live now, and I didn't bring the Connect with me because I never used it. And I haven't plugged it in since I unplugged it one time. So basically, I used it to be like Xbox Play, but I'd always watch movies at night, so I'd have to be really quiet so I didn't wake everybody else up. But
now, and also, what about? Obviously, it ships with Connect, and Connect has to be connected. Like it's a must for the system to operate.
Yeah,
and kind of like what you said, Nathan. I personally don't have a Connect. I have another Xbox in my apartment that has the Connect on it, and I'm literally looking at it right now, and its head is sort of tilted down in a depressed state because it never gets used. Like I don't know. I mean. I am excited, like you said, the possibilities there for some kind of new gameplay mechanic or something like that to come into play, but I don't play dancing games and I don't use my Xbox to work out. So right now in this generation at least, I don't need my Connect. I don't play football games to call audibles.
It's really up to developers figuring out what they can do and what makes sense other than just playing dance games and like yelling stuff at your TV.
Yeah.
Because even in Mass Effect 3, I never used it, but I thought that was. I mean, that was
I thought
going in
that
the
was
right
cooler.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was neat.
I don't think they should focus so much on Kinect only game as much as integrating Kinect into.
Right.
Yeah.
I really think the better with Kinect, like marketing tagline. I think that was kind of genius. Like you said, it's not a Kinect only dancing game, but like you said, it's integrated, so it's better with Kinect. So
Right.
I think that was pretty smart on their part to kind of throw that in. Because if you didn't know what it was, I mean, just whoever walking down the street and you're getting hit with all, I don't know, like just using Mass Effect as an example, because Mass Effect 3, there was just marketing everywhere, and so whatever is walking down the street, they see first time they're ever being exposed to Mass Effect, and then they go to the store to buy it, and they see better with Kinect. What the heck is Kinect? Oh, it's this voice activated thing, and Mom, Dad, buy that for me too, and it kind of gets that home. But
they sold a lot of Kinects. They sold millions. I don't know the number, so I'll just make up the
so
word
just
millions.
make one up.
Yeah, it's like 14.3 bajillion Kinects just in the United States alone. So
it's impressive.
So it's definitely something people want, and I think that even showed with the Wii. People want new ways to play games. They just don't want it to be tiring. Like they've got to understand that, like, a lot of times when I sit down to play games, I've had a long day. I just want to sit down and play a game.
And
I don't want to.
That's why you are playing games, because that is your way of relaxing.
Yeah. I don't want to be in a position where, okay, now I'm just like, I have to wave my arms to change my ammo out, and then I have to scream at the television. It's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to press a button. So if it's at least for the game wise, as long as they keep it as an option and not as a mandatory thing, like you guys were saying, I mean, I think the Kinect will be great, and I think it'll be great for the TV stuff too. I think that also is cool and makes a lot of sense, being able to just move your arms and switch over to TV.
Yeah,
I mean, as long as it works while I'm laying on my back. That's what I was thinking when I was watching the presentation. I was like, well, what if I'm like slouching over? Like, what if I'm not standing in front of the TV? Then can I switch back and forth, or do I have to like sit up at attention?
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see, because it's supposed to be a lot better of a device. So let's move on to the controller, because I've seen a little bit of the controller. I've heard some things about the controller, and to me it sounds amazing.
Freaking awesome.
The first time
I agree with you on that.
When I first saw it, I looked at that D-pad and I was like, I know fighters are going to see that D-pad and they're going to think that's not going to work. But the first thing I heard about that controller was that D-pad is like designed to be much better than the original, and it should work. Because
that was like the
games.
one complaint about the 360 controller was just the D-pad. Because
I had a lot of complaints.
Am I the only person that bought an Xbox that wasn't that bothered by it?
I never used
the original. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm just. I guess the original. I never got one of the new controllers where you could like swivel.
Oh, swivel. I mean, no, I never really used the D-pad, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I use
it.
It
Really bothered me.
I use it when I'm like going through menus, just because I find like it's a little easier to I'm more precise as far as like being able to select things. But I mean I just don't know who's using it enough to complain about it, because isn't that why the analog stick was invented?
Well, no, but it's literally things like maybe puzzle games and stuff, but it's fighting games, they really, for whatever reason, they just work better. And those are, I mean, while we aren't people, I know I'm not, I just bought the most recent what is it? Not Demon Souls. It's we just talked about this, didn't we? The last podcast.
Dark Souls? No.
It's what is
Darksiders?
Oh,
yeah, no.
You're talking about your fighting game you bought?
Yes.
Soul Calibur?
Soul Calibur. Yeah. And man, I'm horrible at that game. But anyway, we don't normally play those kind of games. But yeah, it's definitely something that's really, really popular, especially on Xbox with the Xbox Live and how well that works, and you can play over the internet. And that's. So it's definitely something that's concerned for a lot of gamers, but not every gamer by any means. But I mean, that's just one of the many features of this thing. I haven't heard too much about the joysticks, but I heard that they feel really good. The buttons look like the old buttons, which I hate the old buttons. I don't know
What?
why.
Really?
I just don't like those buttons. They're weird. They're too far. They're
Man,
too high.
I
the
kind of
360
I know what you're saying
controller.
on that.
Go ahead,
I'm
Kyle.
actually really surprised that there was any redesign to the controller at all. I mean, I could
Yeah.
understand maybe some
Yeah.
cosmetic issues and addressing the D-pad, but when I saw that they actually had a completely redesigned controller, I mean that kind of took me back a little bit. I was, oh wow,
Yeah.
because the 360 controller I've got in my hand right now. I mean it's lauded as like the best controller ever designed. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what I was
like,
about to say. It's literally perfect, I think. And that's what it did kind of worry me at first when I saw the controller. I was like, no, why'd you redo it? But I mean, from everything I hear, they say it's awesome. So
well, because I mean, think about it. We've been using this for the last whatever seriously, like six,
Almost a
7
decade.
years. And
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
think about how weird it's going to feel when just using the Wii U as an example. The first time I ever played it was over Paul's, and
The A, B, and the X, Y are swapped.
well, but that too, but like the just the way it felt for
Yeah.
the analog sticks to be so far away, like
Yeah.
that took me a while to get used to. And I mean, not that like obviously the new controller's not anything like that, but
Right.
I just it took me back that they kind of they thought that something was wrong with it to fix.
Well,
Which, like I said, the D-pad and like small kind of maybe just little issues, but hopefully it's still essentially the same thing once you kind of get it in your hands. And
Right. One of the things that I really love, because I actually prefer the plug controller as opposed to the wireless controller, because it doesn't have that big battery pack on the back, and they've put that on the inside now.
Right.
On the new Xbox One controller, which I think is genius. I'm so glad they did that.
Can you remove the battery on this controller?
I think it's charge only.
yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well,
See,
I mean,
that's the way like
PS4
PS3 controllers
is.
are like that, and that
But if the battery
it-
goes bad, you just gotta buy a whole new freaking controller.
but batteries don't go bad like they used to. It's not 1980, bud.
Yeah, the batteries in my 360 controller go bad all the time.
Well, that's because that controller's 10 years old.
I had a one of the like the actual like battery packs. And
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I buy. It's just the battery packs, and like I don't know, I feel like they lose their charge after so long.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about the triggers having vibration in them?
Oh yeah. Not only that, this is what this was actually the next thing I was going to say. Not only do they have vibration in them, but they can be resistant.
Yes.
So that way if you're like if you're doing something and it's supposed to be really hard to do, it can actually be physically hard for you to pull the trigger, which I think is awesome. Like, could you imagine I don't know, what was it? I guess in the original Modern Warfare, at the end when you gotta you're dying and you shoot that guy, could you imagine if it was really hard to pull that trigger?
Yeah.
Like it would be to really pull a gun. Man, I think that's probably one of the coolest features if developers use it right. It's something they've got to learn, kind of like how they had to learn to use a rumble pack on the Nintendo.
Well, especially now with I feel like all these games are integrating the quick sequences where you gotta tap X at this to punch a guy in a cinematic or something like that.
Dumb, but
I mean, that's probably how they're gonna use that.
But I don't know. I mean, even still, that means say you are playing Call of Duty Ghosts for whatever reason. That means each gun you shoot could feel different on the trigger, which to me it's something that brings in immersion. That means when you pull the right trigger to swipe your sword, it kind of has a flow to it as opposed to just you pulling the trigger. It's not always going to feel the same, which I think could be really, really, really cool.
Why didn't they talk about that? Why did they show me a stupid dog animation that I could care less about and not say, you know what? This new generation is bringing in new features. This is how we're incorporating. This is why I have such a big issue with it, because it was why do I care about a dog? There's been plenty of other games that have it was unreal to me. The conversation we just had, to me, that last 5 minutes was more enjoyable than their entire conference.
Yeah. and I think it's all going to come back to E3. That's to me it's probably smart on their part, because that means everybody's going to be looking at them at E3. Everybody knows kind of what PlayStation has to offer when it comes to games. So everybody's going to, and Xbox is going to be the first person or the first people to do their big stage show. So I mean, I think
Nintendo's
in their
following
mind,
them up. Is that right?
Nintendo. I mean, if they are, it won't matter because nobody's going to see it.
Well, I know it was kind of a joke because they're not really going to be there. But anyhow, continue.
Oh, gotcha. No, they're going to be there. They're just. We
Subdued.
can talk about
Doing a
Nintendo.
conference.
We can talk about Nintendo at the end because they're actually doing something really cool. But anyway, now you made me lose my train of thought. But I feel like they were gearing up so that way at E3, all they have to do is talk about games. They don't have to talk about the new features. They've got it all out of the way. It's kind of like, here's all the boring stuff. Get ready for the exciting stuff. And that's what I got from the presentation personally, which was whatever.
I was fine with that, and that's why I didn't understand why of all things people were mad about was they didn't show games. I wasn't worried about that because like I said, E3 is so far away. They're going to save that for them. What worried me was that there's I read an article after the conference was about like the used game thing, and for some reason they said it doesn't always have to be online, but you have to connect every 24 hours.
Connected. Yeah.
Now, but they didn't expand upon that. What happens? What if I don't connect every 24 hours? Does my box not work anymore? Or
well, there's a couple. I don't know about that. There's a couple interesting articles. I'm pretty sure, or interviews on IGN. One of them talked about how it talked about the used games, and I'll explain this if in case you haven't heard about this yet. So, say you've got an old game you bought on the Xbox One. It was a launch title, so it really sucks now because it's 2 years later and you want to sell it back. So you go to a participating store. They have to be a registered Xbox One resale store. So that means GameStop and stuff's going to do it. So you'll sell your game, you'll get your money, you'll walk out. That's it, right? Now what that store has to do now is they have to unregister this from your account. So all of a sudden now you lose that game. You'd have to buy a new game to be able to play it again. Which, makes sense. You lose the disc, you lose the game. And then they would have to pay a fee to be able to resell that game. So basically what ends up happening is, unless you're trading a game from one friend to another, if you will be perfectly fine to buy a used game as long as you're buying it from one of these vendors. Yeah. The worst part about that is probably means used games are going to be more expensive. Because the store's going to have to pay a fee to Xbox or Microsoft, which is kind of a shame, but it might just be like $5 more expensive.
So
I'm not worried about that as much as like borrowing games from my friends. I don't want to have to pay a fee to play a game for 10 minutes and be like, oh, this sucks.
You don't have to. You just have to have their profile, which means they can't play.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's stupid.
It is stupid.
I mean,
that's the worst part about it.
Back in the day, obviously, I still have sleepovers with guy friends, but no. But just, hey, going over to a friend's house is no longer just taking your game over there, putting it in and playing it. It's taking it over there. Hang on a second. Let me register on my profile so we can play the game actually. Yeah. And getting on. I mean, it just. I don't know if this all stems from just.
I wonder how much that is so much as Microsoft as it is developers. Because that's getting what it's coming down to is getting more money for developers. Because that's what they were complaining about beforehand was used game is killing these people because they're not getting money off these sales.
Then don't charge $60 for a game, and maybe more people will be able to buy it.
You got to understand though. There's 2 or 3 people in this equation. There's developers getting money, but there's also the publishers, and then there's Microsoft, the publisher for the Xbox One, who are all wanting money. I think this is Xbox, Microsoft. Money grubbing from used sales games, which in a way maybe they deserve or not. I think this is it's definitely I don't know, it's really kind of weird. I mean, like you were saying, going over to a friend's house and having to, like, I remember Nathan would come over and we would play like every Thursday night, and if he wanted to play on his profile, it'd be like 20 minutes waiting for it to download onto my Xbox. If they can fix that, then that's fine. Then that's whatever. But you're right. You still can't lend games to another friend. And I think that's, for us, directly, because we're adults and we have jobs and we get paid decently enough, we can just buy a game. It's not that big of a deal. but it's kind of weird because it puts a lot of little kids in a situation where now they have to buy the game if they want to play the game.
Well, and they talk about like how we're gamers or this community of people that this and that and the other, and like now you have these companies making it hard for us to get together and do the thing we like to do, or this like by. Well, you can't play it. You can lend it to their friend, but then now they have to pay $60. I don't know. It's very counter.
I guess I'll wait to see what the fee is for me to play that game.
Yeah.
Like if it's like $1, I mean, yeah, that's gonna piss me off a little bit, but that's not a big deal. But if it's gonna be like $10, I'm gonna be like, screw that.
From what I almost understood it to be full price. Like if I were to lend you a game, it would cost you full price to unlock that game to play it on your profile.
I don't think it's going to be full price. I really don't. They haven't clarified yet, but I really don't think it's going to be full price. I think it's going to be a couple bucks. Because it's going to be the same fee basically that the people at the stores are going to have to pay to unregister that from that other game.
From what I understand, go on record as saying that I don't think it'll be anything cheaper than $40.
Really?
Yeah.
You could be right, but I think I'm hoping it'll be like $5 or $10. But even still, that doesn't alleviate the problem of just, okay, yeah, you can borrow that game for a while, like test it out, try it out, see if you want to get it yourself, which is just a shame. It's just a shame that's basically going to be broken, because that's something that's been around since cartridges were around. People would bring them to school and be like, yeah, you can borrow this for a while, have a save file on there, super awesome.
Yeah.
I just pictured Paul as a little boy, but his face was still the same, and he was talking about
with the big bushy beard.
Yeah, it was totally awesome.
Totally awesome. I have all the cheats unlocked on 007 GoldenEye. Okay, so you can use big head mode, infinite ammo, infinite rockets, whatever you want.
Paintball mode.
Paintball mode.
One thing I want to hit on is, everyone's disappointed with the EA Call of Duty thing, which I agree. Of all things to show, that's stupid. You showed a game that has a terrible looking engine. Battlefield 3 looks better than this engine.
It's coming out on both consoles.
Yeah.
It's not even an exclusive.
Yeah. Why did they just say F all that? They hit on that they're going to have 15 exclusive titles in the first year, and 8 of them are new IPs. Why would you not expand upon that and at least give like a little clip or something from a couple of those games? And like I would have been like, oh yes, this is going to be awesome.
See, that's what I mean. There was nothing there there was nothing there to make me want to be interested. I don't care about voice controls. I don't care about the dog. I don't care about whatever. Like, show me these new exclusives that are coming. Like, I don't know. Like, all they would have had to have done is say, here's the Xbox One. I know we picked a worse name than the Wii U. And then here's gameplay.
Yeah.
And then just like blown my mind with something totally awesome. And I've been like, on board, here's my money, take it.
Even if they had just shown like pictures of like the title, but with the words removed, and it was just all of them on a screen for like a minute, like 30 seconds, and then they just take it away. I'd be like, oh, what's that? But they just said 15. God. So I'm guessing what, Halo 5, Halo Reach 2, Halo Wars.
No, they'll be like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Halo I guess maybe new Gears.
Yeah, but I don't really care about Gears.
I mean, I don't care about that either, but I'm just saying, I don't know. And well, that's what a lot of people worry about too, is how many of them are going to be like huge selling games, or are they just going to be like arcade exclusives or whatever?
Yeah, man, if they name a bunch of arcade games, like,
that would piss a lot of people off. I mean, I love some of the arcade games, but
that's not. But they, in a way, they kind of need to do that, because it's another thing I'm hearing on the PlayStation side is Sony people are like, well, I really like how Sony's really approaching the indie market and really saying, hey, we're going to make it really easy for developers to you can just publish a game on the PlayStation 4. You could be anybody, make a PlayStation 4 game and just publish it, which is amazing. That's something, if you want to do that on the Xbox, you either have to go through I think Xbox Indie, but I don't know if that's free. Otherwise, it's $10,000 just to publish your own game.
Yeah,
which is kind of unheard of.
No, see,
I mean, I don't know.
I feel like kind of just to get, like counterbalance the 360, or excuse me, the one conference that to me, PlayStation 4 hit all the right strides. Like they showed enough of new games, but still left tons to show at E3. I
Yeah.
mean, they even I mean, who I think it may have been one of the Final Fantasy creators comes out. Literally, all he said was, "Be sure to pay attention to E3 this year," and walked off stage. Like, and so you're just like, oh, something's
Oh
gonna happen at
God.
E3. And so, I mean, yeah, they showed new games, but now you know what's coming to E3, so that's why you're excited for it.
Yeah.
And Xbox is like, we have new stuff coming out,
But we're
and
not
you're
going to
like,
say
oh,
anything.
yeah, okay. I mean,
Dramatic pause.
I mean,
till
I
E3.
don't think Microsoft is going to let anybody down at E3. I don't know. Could be wrong completely, but I think they realize that the core of their audience is hardcore gamers, and I think they'll do a great job at E3. At least, cross my fingers.
I'll be honest. For the past few years at E3, I've been consistently let down because
Oh yeah,
it was kind of like when they announced Final Fantasy 13 for the Xbox 360. Now, I've been an Xbox fan, but I know if I was a PlayStation person, I would have been like, what? That was one of ours. Like, you're just giving that away? Like, I don't know.
Part of the reason it sucked so much was because this console life time has been so long. It's like all these games are just like, we're kind of scared to make a new engine or a new series on an old console.
But it's also been a lot of games that are cross-platform. There's not a lot of exclusives. There's not a reason to buy just this. And like, and then Nintendo, who are the people who should be on top of that for the Wii and the Wii U, they've always been like, here's another 3DS game. Like for the last couple of years, that's what it's been. It's been like, okay, well, how about these cool consoles that are supposed to be in HD? So I don't know. That's E3 talk though, and we might have to hold off on that.
can we mention just the looks of the thing?
Oh yes, that is one other thing I want to talk about.
What?
It's a
So
giant.
stupid.
It looks like a Betamax player.
Oh my god! I think it looks freaking awesome.
1982 called and it said, "Hey, you're 1 year ahead of us." It looks horrendous.
They must be calling it the Xbox One because they literally melted down everything that I have, every entertainment component I used, and just made it into one big box. That's why it's so big. Like,
It's not big though. Like
I don't
everyone says it's
believe that.
big.
are you serious?
And
They
the
said
people
it's
on the
no
stage
bigger.
were
They
really
said it's-
small.
They said it's barely bigger than your Xbox Slim.
I don't
know.
believe that.
I hear it.
I mean, that's what
rewinds
IGN said.
VHSs.
They had their guys on the floor. They're like, yeah, it's barely bigger than your Xbox Slim. I mean, it did look huge on the States, but it can't be that big.
Well, maybe
plus-
I could be wrong. It looked like the size of my 42-inch television right now.
And Paul, of all
big.
people, you're a PC dude. Get a
Not
PC with all those features in it in that small of a case. It wouldn't happen.
No, you're right, because I wouldn't do that. I don't watch TV on my computer, but so we've been talking a little bit about E3 a little bit. So let's wrap this all up. It's Xbox One. Some of us love it, some of us hate it, some of us are just mixed about it. It'll all come out at E3, whether we're gonna get a PlayStation 4 or actually I'm probably gonna get both, but whether we're gonna buy one or the other first. So, E3. What are you most excited about? I already have my answer, so if you guys don't know, I can go first.
Why don't you lead off?
Okay.
Just
I'm just going to go in the complete opposite direction. I'm excited for Elder Scrolls Online. I'm excited because I've signed up for the beta so early, and they haven't said anything about the beta for a while, so I'm hopefully like, okay, they're going to show off some stuff at E3, and they're going to ramp up the beta, and I'm going to get in. Like, that's what I'm excited about. They've been putting out little videos of like some stuff that they've been working on and some monsters and stuff, and I don't know. That's what I'm excited about. I'm going to cut it off to you, Nathan.
I guess other than just the generic console stuff coming out, Destiny. I think that game looks freaking awesome. I'm really excited for it, so I'm curious to see some gameplay footage finally showed off. So.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited too. I'm more excited to figure out what it's gonna be.
Yeah,
it's still kind of one of those things that like, is it a third or first person shooter? Is it an MMO? Is it not? We don't know. So that's what I can see that. I can see that. Kyle.
it's going to sound boring, but I'm really just excited about hearing more about the consoles. Like I want to see what the next gen of gaming is. Like I want
Yeah.
to see the new features. I want to see the new
Yeah.
gameplay abilities. I mean, that's what I want to see because I mean, it's been so long in this console generation. Now you're finally all the major players have announced what's going on. Like I'm ready for them to just hit me hard with this is the PlayStation 4. This is why it's awesome. This is the Xbox One. This is why it's awesome. Like I want to get excited about each of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I had issues with the Xbox One, like presentation. Like a bunch of my friends, like people that we know, they kind of give me grief about it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still excited about it. I want it to be awesome, but I just kind of think they hit some missteps. But I'm just excited in general to see the future of where this is going. So
I think it'll be easy to say, and something that was really funny that was said in the interview, that Rev 3 interview with Adam Sessler and that other guy from Xbox, who I can't remember his name.
Ryan Packy?
Maybe. It might have been. He said it really hesitantly, but he's like, this may be the last console that you'll ever buy. And I was like, well, no. It'll be 10 years down the line. You'll be pushing something else out. But I definitely can see that these, if the PlayStation has half the features that the Xbox does, that these two consoles are going to change gaming. Just like, I mean, literally the Xbox 360 and even the Xbox itself, each time gaming has not only gotten better, but it has changed with Xbox Live and then Xbox Arcade and then the improvements and the Kinect. It's all moving in a direction that's forward, that's more forward than we ever thought we would be at, except for the only people who probably should be way ahead of everybody is Nintendo. They had motion control on the original Nintendo Entertainment System with the Power Glove. It didn't work very well, but they've been ahead of the game for so long. I don't know why they're so far behind. They better pick it up at E3. I'm telling you that right now.
Can I mention one more thing that we didn't touch on about the new features?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, real quick.
The cloud computing. Apparently, these I don't know as far as the PS4 is concerned, but apparently the Xbox One could technically
play with
get
PC
more
gamers.
powerful over time due to cloud computing. Like there wouldn't be a need to come out with a new generation because this cloud computing could do that for it. I think that's incredibly impressive if that's something that could come to fruition.
And they said it could be cross-platform with PCs, possibly.
But eventually the cloud gets so big it has to rain. And
It has
then
to rain.
thunderstorm.
Okay.
To me, I'm terrified of the cloud personally because I'm going to put a bunch of information on that. Oh, we're not using the cloud anymore.
I don't use cloud anything, to be honest.
Oh.
I think the idea is neat, but I don't use it. Like you said, it makes me incredibly nervous too. But
I'm terrified of the cloud. I'm sure it's something that eventually it's going to just be like the internet and everybody uses it. But I don't know. We'll see. It definitely sounds cool. Another thing I want to talk about, I don't know, we're going to go back to Nintendo real quick and E3. It's something I forgot to mention. I'm excited about it because it brings E3 to your hometown. Nintendo, at participating Best Buys, are going to have unreleased Wii U games, probably 3DS games as well, that you can play at your Best Buy during E3. That means you can wait 4 hours at a Best Buy to play a game for 2 seconds that may or may not be incredible. It's probably going to be like Pikmin 3 and something else you don't care about.
But then if it's like Legend of Zelda or Metroid Prime,
if it's
you'd be like Cracker Pants.
Man. Yeah, it could be the HD remake of Wind Waker, which would be freaking amazing.
Awesome.
And I hope our hometown, I hope our Best Buy does it, because that would be cool. I'm sure it's going to be like one in California, one in New York, and like one in Wisconsin, and that's going to be it.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I hope they do it because more than likely I'll have to work and not be able to go.
Yeah, I know I'll have to work and not be able to go, but whatever. All right, so that I think wraps it up for this extra long FTHcast. There's a couple reasons it was extra long, just in case you didn't know. One of the reasons is because it's an interesting topic, and that's that. But Also, because we're kicking off us being on iTunes. By the time this comes up, we should hopefully be on iTunes by the time this is on YouTube. So I guess I'll have a new outro. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please visit www. Actually, just search for Free the Hawk on YouTube. I'm not sure exactly what I'm pretty sure it's youtube.com/freethehawk, all one word.
Paul's never
otherwise,
used the internet before.
Well, I just didn't like that. But
is it 3 W's?
It might be. Anyway, so visit us there if you're on YouTube and you're listening. Check out our iTunes feed. We'll be posting hopefully simultaneously on both. It's something that's on my end, and I am incredibly irresponsible. So it probably is going to be like horrible after like a month, but I'm going to try to do my best. Hopefully our next topic also will be about E3, because we usually try to take about 2 weeks, and we're right at like 15 days from E3. So the next podcast might be a little bit longer away, but it'll definitely be about E3, and I'm definitely excited about that. I want to thank both Nathan and Kyle for coming and talking on this extra long podcast.
No, you're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We're definitely going to have you all next time. And again, if you're on the YouTube channel, or if you're on the iTunes, subscribe, like, comment. I don't know if you can do all this stuff on iTunes, but you can do it on YouTube. And let us know what you think and what your thoughts are, and possible future topics in case E3 is not interesting at all, which it may not be. But either way, I appreciate y'all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.